What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And I've been wanting to make this video. Sorry, cat. Come here, you. Alright. This is what you wanted. Is this what you want? Alright, stay there. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I thought it would be best to actually finish the game first to give my final impressions on it, because I didn't want to say something too soon, only to basically come back and, have to apologize for wrong things that I said. And that, of course, is, I'm talking about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Specifically in this case, Shining Pearl is the game I've just finished. My brother and I play the games together every time a new game comes out. Lately, I buy the games and I just send him the extra copy that I'm not gonna play, and then we go from there. To the main point of this video is that, honestly, this is really hard to say, these are the worst remakes they have made so far. And what I mean by that is I'm talking about the remakes of Leaf Green, Fire Red Leaf Green, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, even to some extent Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is the result of Game Freak wanting to do remakes of this game, but not actually being the ones to do that. It sucks because that's what I think is the problem here, is that these games just feel like soulless remakes. Because they were made by a different company. They were not made by Game Freak, because Game Freak is working on the Legends Arceus game. Arceus? Arceus? However that is pronounced. It really, unfortunately, is a problem that has come up now. Now we can go back to when the games first were announced, and this was an amazing thing. Like, we've been hyping up, Gen 4 remakes, because it had been since 2016 that we got. Yeah, 2016, 2017, where we got Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And those games were amazing. They not only were amazing at recreating the Gen 3 games, but they also added a bunch of new content as well. They expanded the story, gave new cutscenes, and gave us better character development for all the characters. It was great. So we were excited to see what they were going to do with the Gen 4 remakes, especially after Sword and Shield came out, and how they've always seemed to do what they seem to do when they do remakes is they take all the current updates and the graphic style of the previous generation that just came out and put it to the remakes. Like they did with Fire Red and Leaf Green, they used the 3rd generation graphics. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, they used Gen 4 graphics. And then you have Gen They skipped a little bit for the remakes. A couple of years there. And then when they made Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, they used Gen 6 graphics, which I think was a good idea. Not using Gen 5, because Gen 5 was at that weird state of in between. Gens 4 and 6 were like kind of 3D, not 3D style. So then with Sword and Shield coming out, this was an opportunity for them to use the graphical style and the huge, more detailed open world in the Sinnoh region, which sounded amazing. And then the trailer came out, and it was the chibi art style. Like, not what they used in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Like, it was literally taking the chibi art style, similar to Link's Awakening on Switch. And it didn't look right. It didn't look like this was the next step in Pokemon remakes. The games just looked like toys. It looked too cute, and their excuse, or their reasoning behind it, I shouldn't say excuse, was that they wanted to create a game that was very faithful to the originals. Because apparently there are a lot of people that demanded something more akin to the originals because they didn't like the styles of the remakes, which is baffling to me, because I feel like I don't know anybody that's complained about these remakes. Every time a gen is remade, it's so much better than the original. And I just feel like this, I don't understand who was saying they didn't want any of the new stuff. There was a huge backlash with Sword and Shield, obviously, but I feel like if they had taken that same style, you know, like instead of a top view, bird's eye view of everything, and, you know, have the camera behind you, and similar to what they did in Sword and Shield, but in the Sinnoh region, that would have been awesome. But they didn't. It was a game that felt lazy with the artwork. It was like, we could do all that, what we did in Sword and Shield, but this will save us money and time. Because at the end of the day, it feels like these games were really not the main course. These are just, hey, we're gonna give you a little sample, something that we're gonna, you know, wet your whistle for Legends Arceus in January. Which sucks that these games, after waiting 15 years for remakes, is what we got. Let me go into the good things though, because there are some benefits to these games. The pacing is much faster. Leveling up is faster early on in the game. Overall, like, I was about 25 hours into the original, like, Platinum version, and I would still not be done with the game. I spent 28 hours, I actually beat the game in about 28 hours, so it's a lot faster paced, and that was the biggest problem with Gen 4. The battle animations seem better, honestly, and the environments around, like, that are in the background when we do the battles is a lot better as well. There are some better life improvements, like, in my opinion, I like the experience share always turned on and helping the entire party out. That just helps speed things along very well. Other good things were little tweaks that they did to the game, like being able to access your Pokemon boxes from anywhere. Your Pokemon is able to follow you around again, you know, later on when you get to a certain point in the game, which can be yay or nay depending on which Pokemon that follows you. There's some controversy there. Oh wow. I can't really think of a lot of great improvements besides those. I can think of a lot more negative things, and that sucks because I know there's gotta be more positive things, but I'm just gonna have to go into the negatives. The art style I feel like is lazy. And this was their excuse, and I will say it this time, because they didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on it, which I feel like Pokemon has gone to a point where they are lazy. Like, Arceus seems to be the biggest, you know, investment of money they put into a Pokemon game in years. Beyond that, though, the fact that you cannot trade and battle anywhere. You have to go to a Pokemon Center. You actually have to go to the very top of, like, the Pokemon Center, and then go into a union room, or, you know, specifically start a battle through there, when there's been a staple of the Pokemon games for years now that you can battle and trade wherever you are. You don't have to go to a Pokemon Center anymore. That was one of the things that they took from the original games and brought back, because they wanted to say faithful, which I think is stupid. It doesn't make sense, because if you wanted to remain faithful to the games, you wouldn't have added in all the life improvements that you did. So, I don't get that. Playing through these games again, I realized that the Pokedex is kind of lacking. There's a joke going around that when you play the Sinnoh games, you really only build everyone builds the same team. Luxray, Staraptor, Garchomp, Infernape. And these are just Pokemon that people... these are just the best Pokemon in the game, because there's not a lot of great other choices. What I feel like was bad in these games is, now that I'm starting to replay them again, well, now that I just replayed them again, I should say, the Pokedex could have been better, and it still lacks a lot of fire types, and that was the biggest problem of the original games, and they fixed in Platinum. And that brings up to another valid point. These are not remakes of Platinum and then, you know, divvied up to be Diamond and Pearl. These are remakes of Diamond and Pearl, with a few extra, you know, life enhancements. That is it. Unlike the previous games, they were remakes of the third game. You know, Heart Gold, Soul Silver were remakes of Crystal, but just better. And actually, then they divvied up to Gold and Silver. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, same deal. So these games being remakes of only Diamond and Pearl were detrimental because Platinum fixed a lot of issues. And playing these games, just the animation just doesn't work because when they do like the zoom in, you're still two chibi like little characters talking, barely any animation. It just looks bad. But when you go into the battle sequences, you see them like fully animated and detailed, and that looks great. And it makes me feel like, why couldn't we have that? Now, I'm not trying to be selfish and ungrateful for these remakes. I'm happy they exist, but paying $60 for games that are essentially just slightly better versions of the original games is not worth it. These should not have been priced at $60. To be honest with you, these should have been priced at $40. If they were not going to be made by Game Freak and given the same amount of love and passion that were injected into the previous remakes, these should not have been full priced. They have made finding certain Pokemon the same difficulty of trying to find them, if not harder, in these remakes. Feebas is still one of the hardest Pokemon to find in these games. It is only found in 4 tiles, and those tiles are not always going to be Feebas. Other Pokemon can show up there. And these 4 water tiles, they change every day. So you can't, like, it's not easy to find them. And then, of course, finding a Heracross, there's only a 5% chance of finding a Heracross on a honey tree. And I have been at it for over a week, constantly slathering honey on trees, trying to find a Heracross. And I'm probably 30 or more trees at this point. Probably more than that, at least. And I cannot find one. And Heracross is one of my favorite Pokemon, and I was super bummed that I couldn't find one before I beat the games. I don't understand why Game Freak thinks it's okay, and this is probably just me, but maybe there are other people that agree with me that it is not fun to make a Pokemon difficult to get, to a certain extent. The fact that I can only find a Feebas that evolves into Milotic in 4 tiles that change in an area of the game I don't get to until later on in the game, near the end of the game, mind you. And then Heracross being a 5% chance on a honey tree that I can only check once every 6 hours. There are multiple trees, mind you, but still, it is not fun to have to like spend hours trying to get this certain Pokemon when all you want to do is add it to your team. Yes, I understand that it can feel really good when you find it and then add it to your team, but it doesn't feel good. The end of the game stuff, the battle, like Battle Frontier-esque place, like it's okay. I don't really care for the Battle Frontier. I've never really enjoyed them. The Battle Tree in Sun and Moon was pretty fun, but I didn't invest a whole lot of time in there. I'm not a huge competitive battler. The Grand Underground, though, was really cool, and I spent a lot of time in the Grand Underground. But after a while, it gets boring. You know, you see all these new Pokemon that you can't find in the overworld. You can only find them in the underground. And that's really cool for a while, but then after a while, you've seen all the Pokemon, you catch all the ones you really want, and then it's just kind of boring. You're basically just like looking for gemstones and finding 1 or 2 gemstones every time you do, and you have to collect a bunch of them to get items or TMs, which also TMs go back to being single use only. They're easier to find, but they go back to being single use. Makes no sense. Why go back to that? Especially when you make HMs, this is the worst generation with HMs, because you needed to have all of them to get to the Elite Four and even later parts in the game. You made those so they're not necessary. You can use them with your Pokewatch. Poketch. Sorry, I'm going into a rant, but it is disappointing that we waited 15 years for these games and they don't feel like they were given the same amount of passion and love as the previous ones. And so with all said and done, I have to give these games, if I were to rate them right now based on the content, there is a lot of content that is valuable. Like there's value there. But it's painful for a Pokemon lover like myself. You know, I have a Pokeball tattooed on my arm. I love it, you know, and it's been part of my childhood for so long, and I was super excited for these games. And are they better than the original games? Original Diamond and Pearl? Yes. Are they better than Platinum? I can't 100% say yes to that. For all the good things they add, for every one good thing they add 2 bad choices. And I can't blame Game Freak because Game Freak didn't make them. But at the same time, I feel like I can blame Game Freak for not being the ones to work on these remakes. To be honest with you, I think what they should have done, they should have moved Arceus back. I am excited for it in January, but if it meant that these remakes were not going to get the love and attention that they should have gotten, I would have been happier if they released Arceus at the end of 2022 and then focused on this game more. But that's just me. Overall, I give these games, honestly, a 6 out of 10. Because what's there is okay. But these are the worst remakes of Pokemon we've gotten in a long time. But if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. What was your favorite thing about these games? What was your least favorite thing about these games? What is your opinion on them? And like I said, am I wrong? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't been subscribed already, why not do that today? Hit the like button or dislike button, if it's still there. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I am super excited for Arceus next month, January. See you later.